thank all of y'all for coming out. It's so good to see all of you. But you know what? You shouldn't have had to be here today.
That's right.
You know, back in 1977, Congress passed the federal strip mine law. And you know what? It says that it's illegal to blow the top off of a mountain and dump the rock and the rubble into the nearest creek.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to do that. And but they left this little loophole in the law. Unfortunately, they gave the states the right to say that they could make exceptions to that rule. And as you know, in Kentucky, that loophole is now big enough to drive a Mack truck through. And so what was supposed to be, mountaintop removal was supposed to be something that happened very rarely. Now it's business as usual in eastern Kentucky. The reason that that's done, the reason that the coal companies don't mind to bury the streams and destroy our mountains is because it's the cheapest, quickest way to get the coal out. Yep. All it takes is a handful of workers and some real big equipment and a whole lot of dynamite. And by golly, you're in business. You can make a lot of money. And you know what they do with that money? They bring it down here to Frankfort, and they influence legislators. They influence elections. They influence our own citizens. And unfortunately, that's one of the reasons you had to be here today, to show them that there's another way this can be done. So we've also been trying to use some of that money on Wilson Creek, the little holler I live in Floyd County. And they're trying to convince people to give them the permission to come in and do a mountaintop removal job that would cover both sides of the watershed, the whole length of the holler. So my family and lots of our neighbors are worried about this, and we know that in spite of that money, there's some things that are a lot more precious that you can't buy with money. And one of those things is clean water. And you just think about it. You know, it falls from the heavens and it collects in the hillside streams, and it comes down here to Frankfort. It comes to Lexington. We drink it then. You can't buy pure water. All you can do is protect it. But it's a gift. Yeah. You can't buy it.
Yeah.
So, and we also know, but in Kentucky, we've already buried 500 miles of streams, the streams that we depend on for our water. And they're opening up new mining. They're churning out permits for new mines hand over fist. And it's frightening how fast it's happening. And you know what else you can't buy with money? You can't buy good neighbors. Like our Ken Shoe here. So the only way you get good neighbors is by being a good neighbor. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to count on the coal companies to do that. So because of the poor enforcement of the laws that we already have, when a coal company comes in, it's inevitable that there will be damage to homes, cracked foundations, sunk wells, the dust in the air to have to deal with. And most of the folks on Wilson Creek have been neighbors, my neighbors, for 4 or 5 generations, but we know that once the coal company comes in, like so many other communities, people aren't going to be able to tolerate it. They're going to move out and the community is going to fall apart. So on Wilson Creek and a lot of other communities in eastern Kentucky, we're not cooperating. Instead, we're demanding in this legislative session that House Bill 164 is passed, that the Stream Saver Bill is passed before we lose one more of our beautiful, precious streams and our beautiful mountains. I want to thank you all again so much for coming out. I love our beautiful, beautiful mountains in eastern Kentucky, but I also love the people that are willing to stand up with us to protect them. Thank you so much for being here.